all of the great committee members for teacher effectiveness. This committee rocked. The steering committee for Class Project put together a team for Jim and I that exceeded our expectations. So we'd like all those members to stand up so that we can give you a big old round of applause. We had teachers, administrators, program directors, counselors. We were really fortunate to have everyone on our committee. I want to tell you a little bit about our work. Last March, we were given the charge by Vicki Van Buren to recreate a teacher evaluation program for our district. And Vicki provided with us not only the support, but also some research for us to begin our work. That was very helpful. As we began, our committee began researching best practices in the area of what does good teaching look like and how do you help teachers become more effective in their work. It really helped all of us align our thoughts in that area. We also went out and researched exemplary programs, those districts that had successful teacher programs, not only within the state of Oregon, but also across the nation. And we did a little mining for nuggets in those programs. Our committee, we paired up, we each took a program or two, we dove in, we looked at them, we found some key components that we definitely wanted to have in our new program. We also found some parts in those programs we definitely did not want to have included in Ben Lapine's teacher evaluation program. So that was very helpful as well. From that, our committee sat down and through many hours of discussion decided on what our key components were going to be. We knew that through Oregon State statute we had some non-negotiables to work within as well. So we took that into consideration as we went along. We divided up into small groups and began working on those key components that our group will be presenting to you today. So this manual, as we affectionately call Round 1, is ready to be presented to you today. Round 1 means that for this year, we're excited to get this manual in place and as a living document and work with it this year. We know that there may be tweaks along the way. We're looking forward to your input as we all live it this year and breathe it, and hopefully our goal is to improve the effectiveness of our teachers to help student learning. I also wanted to let you know that last spring we attended a couple of different workshops. One was on the Danielson work, which many of you in this room also attended, and the other one was Kim Marshall's work. So we had that opportunity as well. Now I'm going to hand it back over to Jim. We're going to get started.
All right, so as we started off, as Marie just said, that we read through a lot of material. And so what we were really doing is gathering the facts, and always a good first step. And so we also had some inspiration from Mark Twain, as he described to us, it was also important to get the facts first. So we did that. We went ahead, we got the facts, and then we could distort them at our leisure. So we did start with the facts and then went from there. Another thing that Mark Twain said had to do with kind of the process that we knew we were going to go through, how that might look or how that might feel. When he said, "A man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn in no other way." And that's what we did. I think going through this process, you ask anyone on the committee, and they will tell you that we learned in no other way but by going through this. The difficult thing, I think, today will be, as we have a few hours with you, to try to describe the highs and lows and the questions and how do we solve this and how do we handle this type discussion that we had. It was a very rich discussion. And we knew that at one point those discussions had to become more than that. They had to be put into writing and presented first to you and then roll out to the district. And here's a comic that may describe a little bit of that thinking as they're doing a little math on the board. It says, then a miracle occurs, and then he finishes the problem. The instructor says, I think we should be more explicit here in step 2. So that was really our challenge. Our challenge was to take all that discussion and thinking and put it into something useful and not just say, just trust us, and that type of thing.
Okay, so what we'd like to do now is give you a chance to reflect back on your own careers as educators. Take a look at the list here, and I'd like you to just reflect individually for a minute on what were the 2 biggest positive influences on your teaching or your students' learning that led you to making significant improvements to help with student learning. Just pick 2 from the list here and then share with a colleague, and then we'll get back and share some of those out. So go ahead and take just about a minute to share those with the person next to you. Group, let's take a look at this list. And now that you have your 2 that were your 2 biggest influences, raise your hand when I read one of yours. And just keep your hand raised for a minute so that we have a chance to look around the room and see what our colleagues have chosen as their high leverage choices from the list. So how about ideas from books and articles? Okay, great. Yes, gung-ho, that's right. Professional development workshops within the school or within our district. Okay, awesome. Workshops and courses outside of the school or the district. A few more hands have gone up on this one. Interesting. Okay. How about supervision suggestions from administrators? I see a couple of hands. And I'll put mine up for that too.
Some people are voting more than twice.
So you only get to vote twice, that's it. You can't raise your hand for each one. 2 times, that's all you get. How about that summative evaluation feedback? Okay. We do have a couple of hands that went up. Ideas and suggestions from your fellow teachers. Wow. Look around the room, everybody. That is one high leverage choice right there. Ideas and suggestions from loved ones. Sometimes these might be unsolicited, I admit. I've been blaming that at my house. My husband says, quit treating me like a kindergartner. But a few hands did go up. Good. Michelle Williams, okay, Dave, that's good. Internet resources. Internet resources, that Googling. How about figuring it out yourself? There, a few more, okay. And maybe some others that you thought of, might have been one of your 2. You know, as we attended Kim Marshall's training this spring, he had this slide in his presentation. And just like we saw today, that summative evaluation seemed to be a very low leverage activity compared to what we saw as very high leverage, and that was our ideas and suggestions from fellow teachers. So, great information for all of us as a district. We're following right along the lines of what he's found nationally as he travels around.
All right, we're going to take a look at a slide here that represents the traditional formal observation. If you'll take a look at the slide, you'll see a number of boxes. Each box there represents a day you're in front of children in a classroom. Okay, a lot of days. The dark box represents your formal observation. All right, so pretty typical. What the slide doesn't show is that happens every 3 years. Right? There'd be a whole lot more boxes there that would be blank if we showed that. So next I want to talk to you about, or read actually for you, what some of the leading experts in education have to say about our traditional evaluation. Mike Smoker. Evaluation has become a polite, if near meaningless, matter between a beleaguered principal and a nervous teacher. You know, and actually, let me stop there. We talked briefly on this yesterday, some of us that were here. That was a common theme It was that really nervous, you're coming to observe me feeling on the teacher's part. And it was the principal going, oh, here I go, I need to go observe. That's not too far off. Research has finally told us what many of us suspected all along, that conventional evaluation, the kind the overwhelming majority of American teachers undergo, including us, does not have any measurable impact on the quality of student learning, which you all showed by not raising your hands. In most cases, it is a waste of time. And again, I'm not sure too many of us would argue against that at this point. Except in a few instances, the traditional evaluation process is exhausting and fruitless. Again, why are we doing it the way we're doing it? Principal evaluation of teachers is a low-leverage strategy for improving schools, particularly in terms of the time it requires of principals that are forced. So again, these are folks that are experts in our field saying, we need to change something. I don't know why we're doing it the way we're doing it. And that's really what our committee looked at too. Why are we doing it? And you know, traditions are important. Traditions help with creating culture in schools. And there's certainly ways and means to do that, but tradition also is just because you've always done it that way doesn't mean it's not incredibly stupid. And that's true as well. Every once in a while we have to ask us why we're doing something a certain way. And again, that's what our committee looked at. And from our reading, it was pretty incredible that the 24 or so of us, when we were together, all came to the same conclusion. But you know, change is hard. Change is really hard, and schools are no exception to that. So here's some thoughts on change and a dead horse. Dakota tribal wisdom says that when you discover you're riding a dead horse, the best strategy is to dismount. However, in education, we often try other strategies with dead horses. And yeah, we've done some of these. Kill the messenger that tells you that your horse is dead. We have a number of people presenting today. Please, don't kill us. We are the messenger. Complain about the state of horses these days. Done that. Compare how we are riding now with how we did 10 or 20 years ago. Say things like, that's the way we've always ridden the horses. Buy a stronger whip. Change riders. Matter of fact, I think that's part of No Child Left Behind, isn't it? Get a new leader in the building? Yeah. Shorten the track. Provide additional funding to increase dead horse performance. I won't make any connections there. Arrange to visit other locations to see how they ride dead horses. Raise the standards for riding dead horses. Reclassify the dead horse as living impaired. Patty Cordero, can we work on that? Compare the state of dead horses in today's educational environment. Hire outside consultants to teach us how to ride the dead horse. I think that's coming tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. Declare the dead horse was one of the leading horses in its day. And get the dead horse a website. So again, change is hard, and what you will hear today from us will be some changes. However, I think we can agree that what we're doing isn't working, so it's time to look at some changes, and we really think the focus of these changes will be improved teaching and improved learning, and that was our goal going into this.